I can't believe it's been a full year since I bought my Hellcat Rubí, and it is also my 1 year anniversary on Instagram. So a big thank you to the 19,000 people that hit the follow button over there. I'm so grateful for you guys for joining this journey with me, and an even bigger thank you to all the friends I've made in the car community and for welcoming me. I can't thank you guys enough. I love you guys so much. So thank you for that. The current mileage is 5,800, so I definitely been enjoying her this past year. And keep in mind that I do not daily her. I only drive her on the weekends and occasionally during the week to grab Starbucks or dinner. At the moment, she is still stock, but keep in mind, since she is a Hellcat, she already comes with 717 horsepower, and the amount of power and speed she has is crazy. I'm still not used to it because I went from driving my Camry, which is a 4-cylinder, to a supercharged V8. It's like relearning how to drive in a way because I'm still learning how to handle her and testing my new limits. And it always surprises me how easy it is to spin the wheels in this car, even with the traction control on and on rainy days like this. If you accelerate too fast, you will lose traction. And I still have the stock tires on, which does not help with the traction. So I am planning on changing those out pretty soon because it's a little sketchy driving in the rain. Overall, when it comes to performance, Rubí does not disappoint. The amount of power that Rubí has is insane. No matter how fast you're going, she always wants to go faster. And it's crazy how heavy this car is, especially when you're going in slow speeds. You can definitely feel it also in turns. But once you get to like a certain speed limit, you don't feel how heavy the car is. With that said, the brakes are just as responsive and definitely comes in handy when you need to slow down. Even though I didn't buy this car to be a race car, I do want to take her to the track and take some lessons on how to unlock her full potential. So I think that would be something really cool that I'm looking forward to doing. But until then, I'm just going to take it easy. Look at that beating. Now, when it comes to the interior, it is pretty basic. I went with black leather because I didn't want it to clash with the octane red. I personally care about the color of the interior when opening the car door. And the seats are heated and vented, which I love. The only thing I don't like is how wrinkly this part is. I just don't find that attractive. Onto the center console where you have some of your basic controls for volume and AC, but you also have the SRT button down here, which takes you to this screen where you're able to adjust your launch control, activate line lock, and adjust the driving modes. You also have your launch button and traction buttons, which is convenient, but that's pretty much it for here. I will say though, I'm not a fan of these cup holders. They're pretty tiny, so you're gonna need something with a narrow base. And they're too close to each other and too close to the shifter. There's been numbers of times where I'm like reaching for the shifter to park, and I always hit my hand on these cups. So it gets pretty annoying. I wish this was a better layout in here, but I guess that's all you really have in here. When it comes to storage, you do have some space here under the armrest, but that's pretty much it. When it comes to putting your phone down somewhere, you do have this little net on each side of the center console, but honestly, those nets are too weak, and if I were to put my phone here, it doesn't even fit, and sometimes it gets nudged under the shifter when I'm trying to park as well, so that gets pretty annoying. And when I do put my phone onto the seat, it's flown out several times, so I don't recommend that. Moving on to the steering wheel, you do have your cruise control buttons on the right, your call buttons on the left, as well as your navigation buttons for the screen here. So you're able to like flip through your screens here, which is pretty nice. I love to listen to music when I drive, so the biggest downfall in the steering wheel for me is not being able to change songs or just the volume from the steering wheel like I can in my Camry. So it gets pretty annoying when I have to reach over to adjust the volume here or change songs from the screen here. And about this screen, I hate it when it comes to the backup camera. The quality to me is just not there. Also, the lines on here are pretty off-centered, and I don't have this issue with my Camry, and you would expect for the price that you pay for this car, it'd be a little bit higher quality, but I guess you can't have it all. And that's it for the interior. Even though it is pretty basic and a little outdated, I don't mind it because this isn't made to be a luxury car, it is a muscle car. And I think having all these other features will distract you from the real purpose of the car, which is performance. Since Ruby is a Hellcat, she gets a lot of attention, both good and bad. The biggest downside is always having to keep my guard up when I take the car out. So I'm always checking my surroundings no matter where I go, keeping an eye out for anybody that looks suspicious. If I need to fucking bounce and go, like, it's crazy. I always have to think ahead also of where I'm going and how long I'm going to be there because my biggest fear is her not only getting hit, but even worse, being stolen. So I always have that in the back of my mind. On the bright side, since she is octane red, there is no such thing as blending in with traffic. I get so many thumbs up and people on the freeway trying to catch up just to check out the emblems on the side, and the look of satisfaction on their faces is priceless. But my favorite part is when little kids notice her and they get all excited and they will actually come up to my window and ask me questions about the car and take some pictures. And of course, I have to rev my engines for them. Like, it's the cutest thing I've ever seen. I've also had older people come up to me and ask me questions about the car, and then they start telling me stories about their classic cars, and I always find that so intriguing. As far as my future plans for Ruby, cosmetic wise, I've been eyeing this carbon fiber hood for a while and I really want to get it, and I think it'll look really cool with the carbon fiber trunk and the rear wing. Oh my god, that's always a tongue twister for me to say. This is what happens when you speak two languages. I don't know why it's so hard for me to say rear wing. Anyways, but I think the carbon fiber parts will look really cool with the octane red and just make her stand out even more. I also want to get some new wheels and tires, but I'm undecided on what style I want and the color. I am kind of debating bronze, but I've never had bronze before, so that's why I haven't like jumped the gun on that. I also want to do some performance upgrades like a new exhaust intake pulley and tune. As much as I would love to do a crazier build, this isn't meant to be a race car, so the amount of power it will gain from those upgrades should be more than enough. Also, keep in mind, I do live in California, which means it's going to be easier. Look, there's a cop. Yeah. Yeah, it would be easier for them to... Is he going to pull up right here? Don't pull up. There's his friend. There's his friend. Also, keep in mind, there, number three. Number three. Also, keep in mind, I do live in California, so the more changes I make to the car gives me a higher chance of getting state refed, and that is something I do not want to deal with. If I could go back a year ago and redo everything, I would still pick out Ruby. Overall, she hasn't given me any issues, and the only thing I've done is an oil change, so she's been a good girl. And that's it for my 1 year ownership overview. Thank you guys so much for watching. Drive safe. Bye!